This is what the Lord then said to Moses. Tell the Israelites to take up a collection for me. From every man you shall accept the contribution that his heart prompts him to give me. These are the contributions you shall accept from them: gold, silver, and bronze, violet, purple, and scarlet yarn, fine linen and goat hair, rams' skins dyed red, and tahash skins, acacia wood, oil for the light, spices for the anointing oil and for the fragrant incense, onyx stones and other gems for mounting on the ephod and the breastpiece. They shall make a sanctuary for me, that I may dwell in their midst. This dwelling and all its furnishings you shall make exactly according to the pattern that I will now show you. You shall make an ark of acacia wood, 2.5 cubits long, 1.5 cubits wide, and 1.5 cubits high. Plate it inside and outside with pure gold, and put a molding of gold around the top of it. Cast 4 gold rings and fasten them on the 4 supports of the ark, 2 rings on one side and 2 on the opposite side. Then make poles of acacia wood and plate them with gold. These poles you are to put through the rings on the sides of the ark for carrying it. They must remain in the rings of the ark and never be withdrawn. In the ark you are to put the commandments which I will give you. You shall then make a propitiatory of pure gold, 2.5 cubits long, and 1.5 cubits wide. Make 2 cherubim of beaten gold for the 2 ends of the propitiatory, fastening them so that 1 cherub springs direct from each end. The cherubim shall have their wings spread out above, covering the propitiatory with them. They shall be turned toward each other, but with their faces looking toward the propitiatory. This propitiatory you shall then place on top of the ark. In the ark itself you are to put the commandments which I will give you. There I will meet you, and there, from above the propitiatory, between the 2 cherubim on the ark of the commandments, I will tell you all the commands that I wish you to give the Israelites. Exodus 25. Since the dawn of time, the Ark of the Covenant has stood as more than a mere artifact. It is a sacred echo resonating within the hidden chambers of history. Amid whispers of priests and secrets veiled by the dust of centuries, its existence has been pursued by sages, prophets, and tireless seekers of the divine. Alongside the Holy Grail, it rises as one of the most enigmatic and coveted relics of ancient Jewish and Christian tradition. Yet unlike other sacred objects, the Ark is not solely a symbol of faith. It is also the vessel of an unfathomable power, one which, according to Scripture, emanates directly from the Almighty. The Old Testament recounts that it was God Himself who instructed Moses on the design of the Ark, commanding him to safeguard within it the tablets of the law. Over 2,600 years ago, its trail vanished into the shadows of Jerusalem. Since then, its whereabouts have become the subject of prophecy, legend, and ceaseless vigil. Some claim it slumbers deep beneath the earth. Others believe it awaits the end of days. Whatever the truth may be, its mystery endures, pulsing at the heart of the unknown. It was once kept in the heart of the Temple of Jerusalem, erected by the wise King Solomon in ancient times, when mankind still feared and revered the sacred. This was no ordinary temple, but the supreme sanctuary of the people of Israel, where the 7-branched menorah burned eternally, a sign of God's perpetual light. Before that stone temple arose, the Ark rested in the tabernacle, a sacred tent that journeyed with the ancients through the wilderness. It was King David who, through visions and heroic feats, brought it to Jerusalem. From there, like a reliquary of heaven, it was placed within the temple. Legend tells us it was built of acacia wood, tree of life and endurance, overlaid with pure gold, inside and out. Upon its solid gold lid rested 2 golden cherubim, facing one another, their wings outstretched like an eternal shield, their faces bowed in reverence. The ark never touched the earth, held aloft by 4 feet. No one was permitted to touch it directly. It could only be carried by poles, for its energy, they say, could humble even the boldest of the impious. Some believe it was hidden in a cave on Mount Nebo. Others that it lies beneath Mount Moriah, where Solomon's temple once stood. It is even said to rest in Ethiopia, guarded by a solitary priest. Darker tales speak of the Knights Templar. In the 12th century, they are said to have brought relics from Jerusalem to England, among them the Ark itself. Documents kept hidden for centuries and later revealed by the Vatican only feed these enduring legends. Thus, without proof and without rest, the myth lives on. The Ark of the Covenant remains a whisper in the shadows of time, awaiting, perhaps, the one who understands that not every quest belongs to this world. In the days when the desert dust still spoke with the voice of thunder, the children of Israel wandered through the scorched lands of Sinai, guided not merely by promises, but by an artifact cloaked in mystery, the Ark of the Covenant. It was not the work of ordinary hands, nor a mere chest of relics, but a vessel of the eternal, fashioned according to the will of the Most High. Within it dwelled the covenant seal between the divine and the human, a bond that demanded absolute fidelity. The priests, chosen for their purity, bore it with reverent fear. The ark could not be touched or gazed upon without consequence. Its mere proximity demanded sanctity. At the heart of the tabernacle, veiled behind sacred drapery and the smoke of incense, the ark gleamed like a hidden sun. None could see it, yet all felt its presence. The ancients tell that upon reaching the waters of the Jordan, the river halted at its approach. The flow obeyed, and the people crossed with dry feet. That moment marked not only a physical crossing, but a clear manifestation of divine will, as though heaven itself declared, "Here walks my people, under my shadow." In the heat of battle, when spears rained down like lightning, the ark led the way, and the enemies, upon seeing it, faltered or fell, unable to grasp the force that struck them down. It was as though the earth, recognizing it, bent its own laws. But not all tales speak of glory. When it fell into Philistine hands, disease, dread, and chaos swiftly followed. The ark was no prize of war. It was an unyielding judge. It returned only when treated with due reverence and fear. Beyond its visible might, the ark tested the faith of those around it. It was not enough to possess it. One had to live by the covenant it embodied. Those who strayed from the law, even while near the ark, met punishment. But those who walked in obedience found guidance, protection, and purpose. Miracles did not define the ark. It was the covenant that upheld it. Its power was not automatic but conditioned by devotion. Thus, more than a sacred object, it was a threshold between worlds, a mirror reflecting the people's faith and God's justice. Even now, within the echoes of ancient texts, the ark glows as an undying spark, keeping in its shadows the promise of a time when the divine walked among men. The Ark of the Covenant was also a gateway between life and death. It was not to be touched nor looked upon. Whoever dared to do so sealed their fate. So it was with Uzzah, whose hand trembled as he reached to steady the ark when the cart stumbled. His death was instant, sudden, as if the heavens replied without delay to disobedience. It was not wrath, but divine law. The Ark was to be approached with absolute reverence beyond human reasoning. These ancient accounts serve as warnings. Sacred power brooks no irreverence nor profane curiosity. The divine demands obedience, respect, and inner stillness. The Ark thus stands as a symbol of the inaccessible, of that which cannot be profaned without consequence. Within it lives the mystery of the covenant, the solemnity of the commandment, and the eternal teaching that the sacred is no game, but a consuming fire. There are documents which, when they emerge from the shadows, do more than unveil facts. They awaken ancient, slumbering echoes. Such was the case with certain declassified CIA files from the year 2000, recently unearthed and brought to light by podcaster Josh Hooper. Amidst dusty reports and forgotten pages, one name shone with a sacred aura: the Ark of the Covenant. According to these records, in 1988, at the heart of a covert operation known as Sunstreak, a group of trained seers attempted to reach, through remote viewing, that which eyes cannot behold and maps cannot chart. Sunstreak was a direct successor of other mysterious initiatives, such as Project Stargate, which traced its origins back to the Cold War. Eager to surpass the limits of conventional espionage, US intelligence placed its faith in the intangible, in the mind as a bridge to the unseen. The project operated in the shadows between 1986 and 1990 under the Defense Intelligence Agency, with CIA involvement. The so-called remote viewers were individuals believed to possess psychic abilities, capable of accessing distant or hidden information through coordinates unknown to them, guided solely by trained intuition. One such viewer, identified only as Subject 32, was tasked with a seemingly contextless vision. What he described sent a chill through those who read the report. He spoke of a container made of wood and precious metals, gold and silver, shaped much like a coffin, adorned with winged figures bearing 6 wings, and kept in a dark, damp subterranean chamber. It was guarded, too, by entities he could not name, yet whose presence inspired both awe and fear. This description, conjured from the depths of the mind, closely matched that of the Ark of the Covenant, the divine relic said to have been built at God's command to house the 10 Commandments. The viewer also sketched images of a domed structure, possibly a mosque, and described the presence of figures speaking Arabic, suggesting that the Ark might lie hidden somewhere deep within the Middle East. Despite the detail of the vision, the records do not indicate whether any action followed. The fate of that information remains buried, like the sacred object it may have pointed to. Was the discovery ignored, hidden away, or perhaps the truth it revealed was too unsettling for anyone to confront? What remains certain is this: the Ark, believed by many to still contain the fire of the divine, lies shrouded in layers of earth, mystery, and silence. And the documents that once sought to reach it remind us that there are truths which cannot be uncovered by technology or weaponry, but only by the mind, by myth, and by an ancient reverence for the sacred. In the darkest folds of the Cold War, when great powers spied not only through satellites and agents, but also with their gaze fixed beyond the bounds of the physical, a practice as ancient as the oracle resurfaced, cloaked in modern attire, remote viewing. Ancient sages spoke of the eyes of the soul, of perception beyond the body, of spirit travelers capable of crossing vast distances through sheer will. The CIA, in conjunction with the Defense Intelligence Agency, DIA, sought this very power through what they termed remote viewing, an attempt to translate the ancestral art of clairvoyance into the structured language of military intelligence. Remote viewing is, at its core, the ability to perceive distant places, objects, people, or events without being physically present. But this was not witchcraft, nor arcane ritual, at least not in appearance. It was a trained, studied, and applied system. Individuals deemed sensitive with keen intuitive perception were recruited and trained under specific protocols. The human mind thus became an instrument of espionage. Among the various techniques developed, one gained particular notoriety for its apparent effectiveness: coordinate remote viewing, CRV. This method emerged in the early 1980s, devised by Army veteran Ingo Swann in collaboration with government-contracted scientists. It involved providing the viewer with a sequence of numbers, abstract coordinates devoid of context, that corresponded to a specific target. The viewer knew nothing of what they were meant to observe. They had no idea of the place, person, or object in question. They received only the numerical sequence, and yet, from that void emerged descriptions, sketches, sensations, fleeting images committed to paper in often bewildering strokes. How could someone accurately depict a Soviet military installation from a string of digits? How could a person feel the outline of a figure buried underground, unaware that anything was even being searched for? The process was far from flawless. Not all viewers succeeded. Visions were vague, symbolic, fragmented. Yet at times, the results were so precise they seemed to shake the very foundations of logic. Coincidence, mere chance, or perhaps a doorway we do not yet fully understand. The CIA and other agencies employed these methods in programs such as Stargate and Sunstreak, seeking to locate submarines, rescue hostages, or, as later revelations suggested, even to find sacred objects such as the Ark of the Covenant. It may well have been the final frontier of espionage, to see without being seen, to know without inquiry, to discover without touch. Today, many of these programs have been declassified, filed away under labels of skepticism. But for those familiar with the ancient paths of knowledge, remote viewing is not an anomaly. It is an echo of what has always been, the spirit's ability to transcend the confines of the material world. Thus, in silence and shadow, the mind becomes a traveler, and coordinates, keys to unlock that which only the wise of old knew how to see. Now then, what does the CIA declassified document actually say? Let's examine it in detail, and I encourage you to share your thoughts respectfully in the comments section, so we may foster a healthy debate and reach thoughtful conclusions together. The document, which you can easily find online, spans 17 pages. You're welcome to review it yourself and draw your own conclusions. Within those 17 pages, the psychic individual, referred to as number 032, shares insights into what they saw, including handwritten notes and graphical representations drawn by their own hand. Let us begin with a summary of the session. Target is a container. This container has another container inside of it. The target is fashioned of wood, gold, and silver. The target is similar in shape to AOL, a coffin, and is decorated with seraphim. As we can see in the image, a winged figure appears alongside the phrase, "How is it opened?" During the remote viewing session, the individual wonders how this chest is opened. Additionally, in the same image, they confirm it is a seraph and that it is made of gold. This target is located somewhere in the Middle East. as the language spoken by individuals present seemed to be Arabic. Visuals of surrounding buildings indicated the presence of mosque domes. Individuals in the area were clothed in virtually all white, had black hair and dark eyes. One figure I homed in on wore a moustache. On page 12 of the document, the previously mentioned details are confirmed. During the session, the individual writes Middle East, confirms Arabic as the language spoken in the location, and notes that it was spoken very quickly. It is also confirmed that the people had dark hair and dark eyes. Furthermore, the individual refers to mosques and provides a fairly coherent sketch of what was seen. Have a look for yourself and analyze the drawing in more detail. In this image, the individual describes the dome of the mosque and mentions the color white as a notable feature. The target is hidden. Underground, dark, and wet were all aspects of the location of the target. What follows in the document becomes far more intriguing. The purpose of the target is to bring a people together. It has something to do with ceremony, memory, homage, the resurrection. There is an aspect of spirituality, information, lessons, and historical knowledge far beyond what we now know. What follows in the document is somewhat unsettling, as it speaks of entities not of this world and the dangers of approaching this mysterious chest, one that appears, quite possibly, to be the Ark of the Covenant. The target is protected by entities and can only be opened by those who are authorized to do so. This container cannot be opened until the time is deemed correct. Once it is time to open the container, the mechanics of the lock system will be found to be fairly simple. Individuals opening the container by prying or striking are destroyed by the container's protectors through the use of a power unknown to us. In the chronicles of biblical archaeology, few names echo with as much intrigue as that of Ronald Eldon Wyatt. This American anesthetist nurse was deeply drawn to the mysteries of Scripture, undertaking more than 100 journeys to the Middle East in search of sacred relics. Among his many claims, none is as controversial and captivating as his supposed discovery of the Ark of the Covenant. According to accounts, in 1978, while walking through Jerusalem with an official from the Israeli Department of Antiquities, Wyatt spontaneously pointed towards a grotto known as the Cave of Jeremiah, declaring that the Ark rested within. This unexpected gesture earned him permission to begin excavations in the area. After years of painstaking search, in 1982, Wyatt claimed to have discovered an underground chamber housing the Ark of the Covenant, hidden beneath the site traditionally identified as the Hill of the Skull, or Golgotha, the place of Christ's crucifixion. Wyatt described the Ark as a wooden chest overlaid with gold, topped with cherubim, in accordance with biblical descriptions. He asserted that upon the Ark's mercy seat, there was evidence of a substance he identified as blood, suggesting a direct connection with Christ's crucifixion, as though the blood had dripped from the cross down to the concealed Ark below. According to his accounts, upon entering the chamber where the Ark lay, Wyatt was greeted by heavenly beings who revealed themselves as designated guardians of this sacred relic. These angels, he claimed, instructed him on the divine will regarding the Ark and assisted him in removing the tablets of the law, those believed, by tradition, to have been given to Moses on Mount Sinai. Wyatt recounted how these beings conveyed that the time to reveal the Ark to the world had not yet come, hinting that its public manifestation would be tied to future events of profound spiritual significance. Could that moment be now, with the renewed interest in the Ark, remote viewing, and the CIA's involvement sparking widespread debate online. This narrative, shrouded in mystery, suggests that the Ark remains under the watch of divine entities, awaiting the precise moment to fulfill its prophetic role. Nevertheless, these claims have been met with skepticism by the archaeological and academic communities. The Garden Tomb Association in Jerusalem, which oversees the area where Wyatt conducted his excavations, has stated that no evidence supports his discoveries. Furthermore, professional archaeologists have questioned Wyatt's methodology and credentials, pointing to a lack of verifiable documentation or scientific proof to substantiate his findings. Despite such criticisms, Wyatt's narratives have captured the imagination of many, fueling ongoing debates about the Ark's whereabouts. Some followers maintain that his discoveries were guided by divine providence, while detractors regard them as subjective interpretations lacking scientific grounding. To conclude this enigmatic topic, there are many who believe that the Ark of the Covenant does not lie upon the earth or in any physical plane, but rather rests in the heavens, as revealed by the Apostle John in his vision in Revelation 11:19. Then God's temple in heaven was opened, and the Ark of his covenant could be seen in the temple. And that concludes our video. If you enjoyed the content as much as we did, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. Leave a comment below. We'd love to hear your feedback and suggestions for future videos. And don't forget to turn on notifications to stay up to date with all our updates. Thanks for being part of our community. See you in the next video.